Great job. Once you give birth, that's it.
It sounds like giving birth is the finish line, like you're saying our relationship ends there. I nervously ask, hey, with the way you're saying that, it's easy to get the wrong idea. The next moment, his mother, Jessica, lets out a crazed laugh, moving like a monkey with cymbals.
What's with that face? My son isn't marrying you. Too bad.
Laughing along, Nathan shoves a few bills at me.
Here, take it. It's goodbye money.
They both laugh even harder as they see my face. You two tricked me.
You just looked like an easy target from the start.
Jessica wipes away his laughter-induced tears and continues.
From the beginning, I had my eyes on you because you seemed like a simple woman.
The charming smile he once had is now completely gone, replaced by the face of a manipulative man who toys with women. My name is Sarah James, and I'm turning 29 this year. I'm single. Ever since I was little, I dreamed of working abroad someday. My grandmother was from England, and my mother was half Japanese, half British. My mother married a British man, so I spent my early years in the UK, not Japan. Though I was born in Japan, I was raised in Europe. I grew up speaking standard English, British English, and Japanese. When I was 10, we moved back to Japan due to my parents' work. I lived in Japan until adulthood, but I always felt the desire to venture back out into the world, so I chose a career that could allow me to work internationally. 3 years ago, at the age of 26, I left Japan again, but now, due to some circumstances, I've come back to Japan for the first time in a while. After working non-stop, I took this opportunity as a medical leave and returned to Japan for some rest. I felt nostalgic coming back to Japan after being away for so long. Since I've been living in English, I struggled to recall my Japanese. The first place I went after returning to Japan was my hometown. It was there that I met someone.
Wow, you work abroad? That's amazing. You're like a full-fledged career woman.
He had a face so refined it wouldn't be out of place in a famous idol group. His voice was calm and deep, with a soft smile that put me at ease. His name is Nathan. We met at a group date. I'm 29 and felt it was time to settle down, so I joined a group date to meet people. Nathan quickly showed interest in me.
That ring on your finger, isn't that a famous one from overseas? It's nice. I want something like that, but my job is strict.
He pointed to the pink gold ring on my right hand, its sparkle catching his eye. Our conversation flowed smoothly, and before I knew it, we clicked.
Can I have your contact information?
Of course. I'd love to see you again. I gave him my contact info, and that very night Nathan called to ask if we could go on a date. There was no reason to say no, so we went on a second date. What kind of woman do you like, Nathan?
Well, I think I'd like someone family-oriented.
He smiled brightly as he said this during our third date. At this point, we were more than friends, but not quite a couple yet. Both of us were 29, so we couldn't help but think about marriage. However, both of us still had ambitions in our careers.
I might get promoted to manager soon. If that happens, I'll be making more money and we can think about marriage. But for now, I need to focus on my job, so I can't devote much time to a relationship. But Sarah, if you're okay with waiting a little longer, I'd appreciate it.
Of course. I'll wait for you. You focus on your work and get that promotion. Nathan smiled, and from then on, our dates became infrequent, but we still stayed in touch. A year later, Nathan got his promotion.
Now I can finally tell you how I feel. Thank you for waiting this year. Sarah, will you be my girlfriend?
My answer had been decided from the beginning. Of course, I'd love to. At the age of 30, we officially became a couple and embarked on a new chapter together. Although it had felt like we were already a couple for the past year, it wasn't long before we started discussing marriage. 6 months into dating, Nathan proposed to me, giving me a moonlit ring. It was a surprise at a restaurant with a view of the city lights. Maybe cliché, but beautiful nonetheless.
For me, there's no other life partner but you, Sarah. Will you marry me?
He took my hand and gazed lovingly at my ring finger. Thank you, I answered briefly, and Nathan smiled at me. That's how we got engaged. While everything was moving forward smoothly, small problems started to arise, and they mostly involved Nathan's mother, Jessica.
Wow, what a shabby girl you've brought home. Nathan, are you sure she's the one?
Nice to meet you. I'm Sarah. I met Nathan when we were both 29, and that's when our relationship started. I kept smiling as I introduced myself, but Jessica just snorted and looked down at me. She was a former volleyball player, towering over me with her height of over 170 centimeters.
I'll give you points for courage, but being brave doesn't mean you'll make a good wife. Well, good luck with that.
With that, she left the room. I could hear faint sounds of children playing outside, maybe their neighborhood kids. The meeting was supposed to be for introducing myself after our engagement, but Jessica didn't ask any more questions. She neither approved nor opposed the marriage, leaving the meeting feeling unresolved. Nathan didn't seem bothered at all. Hey, is your mom always like that? I asked, a little irritated by how calmly Nathan watched his mom leave the room.
Oh yeah, she's always like that. She's kinda hard to figure out, but she doesn't mean any harm. I think she's just jealous of how beautiful you are, Sarah. Don't worry about her.
He gave me a cryptic smile, signaling that he didn't want me to pursue the topic further. Got it. I'll try not to let it bother me. I smiled back, understanding his unspoken message. Nathan seemed satisfied with my response. Things began to feel off after that, like the gears that once meshed smoothly were now grinding against each other. A month after the proposal, Nathan came to me with something serious to say.
Sarah, I need to ask for more time before we get married. I promise we'll get married, but it's just not the right time now.
His request to stay engaged without getting married right away was bizarre. I swallowed the words I wanted to say and forced myself to stay calm. I understand. There must be a reason, right? I'm fine with waiting, but if nothing happens within a year, I'm leaving you. For a brief moment, Nathan's face darkened, but then he quickly returned to his usual bright smile.
Of course, that's only fair. We'll still live together, and we're definitely going to get married, and we'll have kids.
Kids, huh? Yeah, I'm 31 now, so I guess it's something I should start thinking about too. Nathan seemed visibly happy when I agreed, but after that, life took a strange turn. A few days later, Jessica suddenly showed up at our home. Oh, I wasn't expecting you today. What brings you here?
What, I need a reason to visit? How rude.
She glared at me and I hurriedly invited her in. No, of course not. Please come in. She stomped into our home as if she owned the place. From that day on, she began to impose her bizarre ideas, giving constant advice on feng shui and how to improve the energy in the house.
This place has bad airflow. You need to place gold objects here. Also start a vegetable garden to get earthy energy.
She wouldn't stop talking about spiritual matters and even started instructing me on what to cook for Nathan.
Make sure you're feeding Nathan well. He loves me, you know. It's important for a man to have strength.
Though I wasn't officially married yet, she treated me like her servant in training. I wasn't someone who believed in things like feng shui or spiritual energy, but I smiled and followed along just to keep her happy. 1 month into this unusual lifestyle, Nathan dropped another bombshell.
Oh, by the way, my mom's going to be living with us from today.
What? I had never heard anything about this before.
I didn't tell you because I knew you'd try to stop me. You're going to be my daughter-in-law, so get used to it.
I gave up arguing and she quickly made herself comfortable in our home, redecorating it to her liking. My favorite items were thrown out for not aligning with her feng shui rules. The house no longer felt like mine and I began to feel suffocated. A few days after she moved in, Jessica suddenly asked,
So, you're not working right now? Are you doing one of those remote jobs everyone's talking about?
Actually, I'm on a long break after working non-stop. I've saved up enough, so there's no problem.
Well, if you say so.
She lost interest in me immediately and turned her attention to the TV where her favorite actor was on screen. The only time I felt at peace was when she left for her cooking classes, giving me a few precious hours of quiet. But the real issue came when Nathan started pushing for us to have kids.
Why haven't we had a baby yet? We've both been tested, so what's the holdup?
3 months passed since Nathan's mom moved in, and I could see that Nathan was getting anxious. Nathan, there's no rush. We'll get married and the kids will come when they are meant to. I pointed it out that there was no need to panic, but Nathan fell silent, looking troubled. The next day I saw Jessica talking with some neighborhood women during my walk. I tried to slip by unnoticed, but just as I passed them, she turned to me and smiled viciously.
My daughter-in-law can't have kids. Nathan thinks it's just timing, but I can tell it's her. And she's not even working. Poor Nathan has to support her all on his own.
I walked away quickly, her voice still echoing in my ears, knowing that now the whole neighborhood would know. A few days later, everything changed when I found out I was pregnant. I'm pregnant! Nathan was delighted, and even his mom forced a smile, though I could tell she wasn't thrilled.
Great, you did it. Now all that's left is the birth.
It was as if giving birth was the end, and I felt like our relationship might end with it too. That sounds kinda weird. Are you saying we'll be done once I give birth? The next moment, his mom burst into a crazed laugh, mimicking a monkey with cymbals.
What's with that look on your face? My son's not marrying you. Too bad for you.
Laughing, Nathan handed me some money.
Here's your goodbye money.
They both laughed even harder, watching my stunned expression. You both tricked me.
You looked so simple and easy to fool from the start. You really thought this was fate? This was all part of my plan. I want a kid, but I don't need a wife or a woman. I just need my mom. So once the baby's born, hand it over and get lost.
His charming smile was completely gone, replaced by a cold, calculating face. Nathan and his mother were clearly in this together, and I realized how cruel their scheme was. I let out a small laugh, and their smug faces quickly turned confused.
What are you laughing at? Do you even get what's happening here? Is the baby okay in there?
Who doesn't understand the situation here? I couldn't help but smile. No, you see, this is my story. I'm the author here, so there's no way I didn't see this coming.
What are you talking about?
Actually, I'm already married. The room fell silent. You really don't understand what's going on, do you? I moved my ring from my right hand to my left. How many women have you tricked like this? Nathan tensed, realizing I had seen through his act from the beginning. I began my counterattack. Nathan thought I was a fool, but he underestimated me. I have been planning this all along. Oh, and by the way, I'm a lawyer. The look on their faces changed instantly. I had all the evidence I needed, and now it was time to bring them to justice. I've been gathering evidence this whole time. You see, I've been on to you from the start. My younger sister Emma is your previous victim.
Emma? You mean the woman who took my child and disappeared?
My anger surged. That child is not just yours. It's Emma's child, my niece. Emma and my niece are safe and living far away.
Huh, so that's why I couldn't find them.
Exactly. You won't find them no matter how hard you try. Nathan glared at me, his eyes filled with anger and confusion.
I needed another woman to give me a third child, so that's why I targeted you.
And don't flatter yourself. I knew what you were up to, and I've been collecting evidence against you and your mother.
Evidence? What evidence?
Take a look at this. I pulled out a thick folder filled with documents. Nathan's face twisted in panic as he realized I had been documenting everything. You're a marriage scammer, Nathan. You used your good looks and charm to manipulate women into having your children, all for the sake of getting government benefits. Nathan didn't say anything, but his silence confirmed everything. You thought you could trick me because I had just returned from overseas, right? Nathan clenched his fists in frustration.
Yeah, at first you seemed easy to fool, but something felt off, so I started testing you to see how far I could push. You didn't object when I said I wanted kids without marriage, so I figured you were like the others.
His arrogance was infuriating, but I remained calm. You were wrong. I've been playing along, gathering everything I needed to expose you. Nathan's mother, who had been silent, now looked at me with wide eyes.
What exactly do you know?
I know everything. Not only about the women you've scammed, but also about the illegal benefits you've been collecting. And I know you've been stealing money from your cooking class students. Nathan's mother gasped, turning pale.
That's not true.
Oh, I have proof. And that's not all. Nathan, you've been paying child support for a child you had with another woman when you were 19. You didn't want to pay, so you came up with a scheme to make money off children. Nathan's face darkened as I revealed everything I knew.
You? How do you know all of this?
I'm a lawyer. Nathan's mother, now visibly shaking, realized the gravity of the situation. I've contacted the other women you've scammed, and we're filing a lawsuit against you.
A lawsuit?
He looked shocked, as if he hadn't anticipated things getting this serious. You're not just going to pay for what you've done to me. You'll pay for everything. Nathan tried to argue, but it was too late. The evidence I had gathered was overwhelming. You and your mother will both be held accountable. Nathan's mother, still in denial, stammered.
I had nothing to do with this. It was all Nathan's idea.
You can't escape this. You helped him every step of the way. You're both going to face the consequences. As Nathan tried to figure out a way out of the situation, I continued. Not only will you pay compensation to the women you scammed, but you'll also face criminal charges for fraud and theft. Nathan's mother looked like she was about to faint. Just then, there was a knock on the door. It was the police, who I had already called. Nathan panicked, grabbing my arm.
Please, Sarah, help me. I'll do anything. Just don't let them arrest me.
I calmly removed his hand from my arm. We're adults, Nathan. We have to face the consequences of our actions. Goodbye. The police arrested both Nathan and Jessica. They tried to plead for leniency, but it was too late. The evidence was airtight, and the law doesn't forgive such crimes. Nathan claimed he had been following his mother's orders, while she blamed her financial troubles. But neither the court nor I had any sympathy for them. In the end, they were both sentenced to prison. They filed an appeal, but the Supreme Court upheld their sentences and their time behind bars was extended. Now they live out their miserable lives in separate prisons, reflecting on their crimes. They have no future. They're in debt and with criminal records. Nathan will be in his late 30s when he's released, and his life is ruined. As for me, I returned to my peaceful life abroad with my husband, Emma, and my niece. Emma has adjusted to life there, and my niece has grown into a happy, bright child. I continued working between Japan and the US, but soon discovered I was pregnant. After a healthy pregnancy, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl who looks just like her father. Nathan and his mother quickly became a distant memory as I embraced the happiness of my new life.